multidisciplinary design practice he co-founded with architect Amrish Arora and architect Ankur Choksi in 2002. Spanning the domains of master planning, architecture, and interior design, the work of the award-winning practice is grounded on the principle of conscious design, an approach that celebrates local resources, cultural influences, an inclusive process, and keen attention to details. A graduate from the TVB School of Habitat Studies, Sidhartha started his career with veteran architect Gautam Bhatia. He explored various mediums of spatial expressions, including interior architecture and exhibition design, in the following years before founding the studio Lotus. As principal, he has led the design initiative for several of the studio's acclaimed projects, such as the Krushi Bhawan in Bhubaneswar, a government facility that integrates governmental functions with direct community engagements in education. Presently, Siddharth leads the master planning initiative for the practice, working extensively on large-scale developments for a diverse clientele with a focus on spatial articulation, environmental planning, and sustainable and modular construction methodology. He is also an active member of the Indian Architectural Fraternity through adjudicating design competitions and speaking at trade events, and represents the practice on a global stage. Architect Subrata Roy has over 11 years of domain experience in designing and execution architecture. A graduate from Dr. D.Y. Patil College of Architecture, Pune, he brings an expertise of handling national and international large-scale projects, including township, master planning, high-rise, residential, commercial workspace, retail museums, and pre-engineered buildings. Associated with RCOP Associates Private Limited for over 6 years, Subrata has practiced architecture in Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, and Delhi as a design consultant and successfully completed the design and execution of several projects. He is a recipient of Excellence in Architecture Design Award from the Indian Institute of Architects. At Studio Lotus, Subrata heads a large number of projects where he adds value with his diversified technical knowledge and detailing capability. His key interest is architectural design, sustainability, and urban architecture. I welcome you both, sir. Before we start with the talk, I would like to request Architect Suvash Mahanti, Associate Professor, Piloo Mody College of Architecture, to inform the gathering about the memorandum. Please, sir.
A very good morning, everyone. Director sir has always been our guiding light, and I feel honored to be given an opportunity to speak about his glorious life. Late architect K.B. Mahapatra is a successful entrepreneur and academician, and was the founder and director of ABIT Piloo Mody College of Architecture. He was born to late Sri Hare Krishna Mahapatra on 24th July in the year 1940 at Cuttack, Odisha. He completed his bachelor's in architecture from Sir J.J. College of Architecture, Mumbai, and started his practice in Odisha, being the second person in the state to do so. Besides being a professional architect for over 31 years, architect Mahapatra has contributed immensely in the field of architectural education in Odisha through his trust ABIT PMCA. He was the ex-chairman of IIA Odisha chapter and the president of the Council of Architecture for a brief period. He was also an ex-member of the Central Regional Committee of AICT, New Delhi, and the ex-director of the Board of Directors of Odisha Bridge and Construction Corporation Limited. He was an active member of Rotary Club Cuttack, Utkal Chamber of Commerce and Industries Limited. In recognition of his distinguished contribution as a professional and an academician, architect K.B. Mahapatra was honored with the Vishweshwara Award in 2013 by the Odisha Engineers Forum Cuttack, and being the only architect in Odisha to be given this honor. He was also honored with the Otto Koenigsberg Lifetime Achievement Award by IIA Odisha chapter in 2013 and the Mahatab Samman by the Mahatab Jayanti Committee in 2015. Every year, we have 2 lecture series in fond memory of Director Sir by eminent personalities of the industry. We started this biannual lecture series in 2018, and this year happens to be the third year. And this year, it gives me immense pleasure to have renowned architect Sidhartha Talwar and architect Subrata Roy to share their words of wisdom with our students this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Suva sir. We will be now starting up with the presentation. The presentation will be followed by a short question and answer session, which will be moderated by my colleague, Architect Smarnika Satpathy. Siddharth sir, please, you can start the presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, Shankar and Suvaj, for your kind words and introduction. Odisha is a special state. For me personally, I've been visiting Odisha for the last 7-8 years, and Bhubaneswar is almost like a second home now. So when PMCA contacted us, it was a privilege to talk about Krushi Bhawan to you all, because I've shared very nice memories of the people I've met, the government we have worked with. So hence. So I am also honored. In a way, no, it's like a privilege also to be presenting along with Subrata. It's probably the first time we are doing this together, and that is what I wanted. I thought I'll do the introduction, talk about our process and the way we go about our projects, because it's pretty much to every project, whether it is Krushi Bhawan or a small or a large project, I could give an insight of how our architectural studio and practice works a little bit. And then Subrata, being the senior most here and having worked on the project, he can take you through the project in much more detail. He is the best person to explain it. We'll start our presentation now. Yeah. Yeah, we founded Studio Lotus in 2002. It's been a long 18-year journey. These are the leadership team, and pretty much you will see Subrata behind Ankur soon. That's the plan. Yeah. So yeah, we can continue. So how our organization works, again, quickly, is that while we are the leadership team, but the idea is to add leaders and partners and associate, and that's how we work very strongly with our next layer, so that they create their own teams and in a way almost do their own little mini studio practice. That's how we operate. It's not run by just the three of us. We three, me, Ankur and Amrish, were the founders, but after that, it's largely, a team of architects and interior designers and people from all disciplines coming together. We work out of Delhi. We are about 60 of us, and I think it's our design process which is important. It's our values which we follow and create our design solution, and that is very critical. So this is always comes across whenever we start a project, and what are we trying to create meaning through that project? The project is there, it is there to make it, but what are we trying to create out of that? And I think in most of a project, and again especially the Krushi Bhawan, it was to create a meaning for all the stakeholders. And stakeholders could be anything. Stakeholder is culture, which again we try to create a cultural space in Krushi Bhawan. Environmental context is an important stakeholder. Sustainability, which Subrata will talk about. Who's the end user? Obviously, in this case, it was the government, but we opened it up by adding the citizen to also be part of the end user. We opened up the building to the city. Artisans, again, Odisha has a rich history of craftsmen and artisans, and we really wanted the craft to be engaged at an architectural level, which you will see in the project. I'm sure some of you must have visited Krushi Bhawan by now. And so the idea is that, yes, obviously there is a client, we understand the client's brief, we interpret it, there are contractors and consultants involved, but our methodology is to work around one table. It's not just us as architects kind of working it and we just want it this way. We want to engage each and every person. And the idea is not to sit across the table, to sit around the table, which is why you'll see a round table we are presenting also. So again, the principle we follow to answer to that, it is not again what we are up to, so the idea is to really get into why we are doing it, and that why tells us that how we will do it and what we will do. So it's not really just to do it. We have to go through this question, and we create these parameters to get the solution of, and what is sustainability means to us. So sustainability is a very cliched kind of a work, and I forgot to mention even earlier when I was talking about stakeholders. Our process is very iterative. Like just to admit, it's just not like it's very evolutionary. Like pretty much we don't have answers very much in the beginning. It's not as if that we have got a brief and this is the building or this is the view. We don't operate like that. And I'm trying to tell all the students, because that's the visual interface and the Instagram and all of that are taken so much over that it's just the digital world right now. But we don't have answers very much in the beginning. The building can shape up in the next way, Y way. We like to engage and elaborate. So hence our process is evolutionary. It iterates. It kind of goes back and forth to come up with the final result. So the important question to answer is, it's a very cliched word, sustainability, but what is important to answer, what is sustainability for a country like ours? And in a country like ours, we, I think, have about 17 or 19 geographic zones, and we have so much food and so much cultures happening. So there are about 11 climatic zones, which make our country, extra special. We have so much variety. And there is so much diversity, regional diversity. There is food. There is how the architecture is, right from north to the south. It's just like dramatically changes. And yet, as student or even as practicing architects, we just get bombarded with the results or buildings happening in places like London or China. I think why Bhubaneswar, because this was, I think, some proposal for a particular building in Bhubaneswar, and we just make a glass box building, and we get into a space of, I would say, a kind of a space of a thermal shock. Like while we've created glass and we are engaging into so much heat, when we get into a space of thermal shock because of this. And the idea is that we always look westwards, like we always look towards the west and try to get an answer. No. The idea is to, like, we have to look inwards, like we have to look into ourselves. I think we're missing the text somewhere. So we have to look inwards, which is why context becomes decisive for us. Like context, like you are in which climatic zone, you are in which geographic zone, you are what craftsman, like we need to celebrate that context, it is not about mapping an image from somewhere and creating a facade. No, the important thing is that we need to celebrate and understand the context and what does this context means to us. This is the framework we like to follow, and you will see how it was developed in a project like Krushi Bhawan. Like we feel yes, we need to be out of the box. Yes, we should be innovative. Every architect aspires to do that. But can we be frugal? Can we be very basic about the innovation? Can we be frugal? Can we do more with less? Like using less, probably structure, embodied energy, all of that. But can we create more out of that? Can we be low tech instead of high tech? So the idea again in a government setup, the idea was not to make them spend the money or any building, for example, and we try to create system, and it becomes actually non-operational after a point. But can we do some low tech? So in Krushi Bhawan, for example, we use the idea of a second skin. like a second screen, which is basically like in Hawa Mahal or any of Jharokas and the Jalis, of our culture and of our history. We've been just using it. So for us, working in Odisha, working in Bhubaneswar, it became extremely critical. We also believe in readapting and reusing buildings. We feel that the idea is to create timelessness. It's not making a statement. It's not that if the West is doing glass boxes or curtain walls, we just want to create that kind of a statement. No, can we be so? How do we make buildings which endure and last? Like how they can be robust, how they can be maintained easily, how they can be, they can be for the next 30 years, 50 years. The idea is to work on that time frame. Can we more for our hospitality projects? Can we redefine luxury? Like the idea is that can we make the local relevant and aspirational? Like in this case, we work with the local technique, ikat, and kind of made and wrapped it over the facade. And obviously we'll go more in detail, but then I feel, Krushi Bhawan is a well visited building, a lot of people visit it, and the idea is that how local techniques can make it aspirational. And again, for us to use craft very integrated is very critical for any of our projects, including this. That like it is the craft and the culture and the mythological stories, how they can be woven into the building, just not by placing few objects here and there, but how they can be engaged. And we did engage about 60 craftsmen for 6 months, and which was very critical. And we are thankful actually to the government of Odisha and IDCO to create a tender actually for craftsmen and give them work for that period of time. So now, Subrata will take us through the project in detail, Krushi Bhawan, but these are the kind of parameters which we work with before we get into any project. Can you go to the next slide? The camera. No. Start.
You want to say it?
Yeah. Okay.
First of all, good morning. Thank you. And it has been a privilege to present this project, and because this project is very special and very close to our heart also. And we have a lot of learnings in terms of this project and a lot of experiment, like how to, what is architecture, how to take about what is the future of architecture. It has given so much of learning. So when I'm presenting the presentation, it's not only key I want to just present the things I want, because it's almost like a all of this, you are a student. So I want to get like from where we are designing, how it's a shift in thought, like how we can see architecture in a different framework. It's not about it's not about always because I can relate to when I was in college and how I have designed and how I have seen the architecture and the way we have developed our design. So I thought there's not very clear understanding how to see the things the way we should see. So that's why Sid was saying we normally visit Instagram and all of this digital, and we try to adopt on all of these things within our design. We don't look at really what is available to us, within within the context, within the local, and so whatever I'm presenting, basically I just wanted to Sid already briefed how we work actually. So before even presenting the project, I just wanted to have create a benchmark how he explained how we normally work. But So this is always very important for us to think architecture and what is beyond architecture. The question we always ask ourselves, what we can offer to the society, to the world, to the city. So that question itself that Sidharth told us, like the why is very important. So every time, so many times things happen, say client approved our design, but we go back to our drawing board saying, no, there is something to explore more. We are not getting the answer of why is it we are doing right? Is this project justice to the cities? So it's not about satisfying client. First, we need to satisfy ourselves to get into that place. Yes, we can celebrate that building in a way we should feel proud. So in our process, it is always like, I'll take you through the project, but before that, for a lot of our project, we don't know what is the end result because we always enjoy the process of the design, the evolution process of the design. So that's why Sid was saying we sit across the table because we know even a layman or like the labor, they are more expert into the technology sometimes. Somebody who is in structure, who is an MEP, they know much more. It's not about I or the studio and the people who, as an architect, we know each and everything, and we don't proceed any design with that fact. We always wanted to have a collaboration. It's like when we sit across with the structure also, like we try to explore, is there any possibility to do anything with the structure? Because normally what happened, we go with a very clear kind of a thing, scenario, ki structure, maybe it may be RCC, it will be like that. So always that pre-concept which exists in our mind. So we try to break that thing and go beyond that. So the only thing is like we always create an environment for the design. So we feel it's a good way to design any building where you give a scope to you give a scope for a lot of ideas. We are always open to ideas. It's not something we know everything. And I clearly told you we don't think about end product like nowhere. We just enjoy the process of it. And I already told you it is always a shift of thought, like what we are going to offer to this society. And at the same time, what difference we are making. So the big question is like what difference we are making in terms of architecture. So I'll just take you to the project. So the project is basically, it's an I think a lot of you know where it is. It's within the planned city, and just to go with the basic things, like when we talk about like creating an environment, or how we look at any project, obviously in terms of sustainability and all of this. So this is what we first study. What is given. So whatever things which is given. So. These all are like this. We consider it as a kind of a dictionary, like the climate, what is given, what is the local material which is available to this place, what is the then what are the existing building scenario, because we don't want to design something which is alien to the context or something. The history of Bhubaneswar, or the whatever the legacy and that city carries. And also in terms of the urban design, like how the city interact, what is the local scenario, how the people, their life. And so before even going for the design, it is very much important for us to understand all of these things, because this gives us a direction how to think, how to take this project forward. So obviously this is how the site is, how the wind flow, and how the sun direction, and this also gives us like how to position our building within any site. So the brief which is given to us, basically it's a agriculture, it's a building for agriculture department, and it's a place where farmer can get interact, they can educate, there is a space for training, whatever question they have, they get answered. And basically, it's the space for people also. In the same time, it's a space for the state employee also. So, so whatever like the vision of Bhubaneswar, it is almost like a feeling. It's a belongingness together. Like it's always like people want to interact. Like the nature of the people, the way that they are living, and all of these things. It's that togetherness. It's one of the basic thing which we identified. And based on that, then we created like this is the whatever is given, like what we are offering to the people. So the third question is this is what the client has given it to us, but what we are bringing into the table. So the third thing is like the citizen of Bhubaneswar to whom the building becomes, and it's we thought, can this building be like a public destination? Like, can the people celebrate this building? Can they feel happy about whatever, like happy, proud about the building when they will visit the building? So that is where the thought came into our mind, and then we thought like how it can be something different other than the normal office buildings. So the whatever the building which exists there, it is almost like a gated kind of a scenario where the building is standing and it's a gated complex with a lot of security and all of these things. So some things when people pass pass through this road and so on, it's not something there is a difference. That gate, it's a difference. These are something which high level people are sitting and the outside people, it's like, so we wanted to kind of break that monotony, and also like we don't want to go with that thought, what is office, what is, typical government office. So normally, some of the times in our thought, we don't want to neglect, like saying that it's the office building, we cannot do more about it, and there is no scope about this building. So normally people try to neglect this kind of building, saying that the government will, the contractor will not be right person, there will be a lot of challenges. So we, when we have started drawing this project, it's like a clear thought, there's nothing in our head. We thought, let's give a best shot, what we can bring into the table. So, yes, already Sidharth told about what is sustainability, and the most important part is what is relevant for us when we are designing. So, is whatever we see around us, it is all of these things relevant. He was telling you one thing: less is more. Like one of the big statement for us, like less is more. So that way, what is relevant? It's more like. It should not happen we inspire with the glass box, and we start doing that. So the question is always, what is relevant? So this already Sidharth explained how India is very different. It's a diversified country, and each and everything is different. So it's not important. Even as in practice, we don't follow, like Studio Lotus don't have there any kind of language. Like you can't say we follow under this kind of building. Like we do this because we are more than happy when we do when we design any building as per the context. So we don't want to match any singular architectural language. So we are more than happy to be building to look like as per the context. So obviously this already Sidharth explained as per the India. So when our culture is different, we want the building to look different as per each and every space. And we have so much color. We have we are very rich in a way. If you see, so we don't need to look at the Western culture. So if we see ourselves, that it is a lot of things which we can bring into the table to explore the architecture. So, the villages and their like how it works and how it get developed over the years. So all of these things, like even like Siddha was also saying, that it's not about always high tech. It is all about low tech and how you present. Basically, it's always about thinking local and acting global. Like that is what that is a concept which we follow. Like how one single basic material can bring something very drastic things like to you in the design. So we have so many things which is there. So like even if you see the initial when things get designed in the early days, people had so much of consciousness about the design, about how to what opening to have, and all of the suddenly because now we are adopting the Western culture, so we lost all of these things. So even all of this thing which we have, like in terms of the culture, and if you see the architecture of it, it's like something very drastic, and we feel proud about all the structures. So only thing is like we should not, in our way, we should not go with that single thought ki like copying the international architecture, and which we always try and do in our practice. So maybe all of these things is like something which we get inspired, but our thought is like what next, what difference we can make, because when we talk about any office building, it is always like it comes in our mind, it will be like a glass box with some maybe composite panel and all of these things. So we wanted to break that monotony, and we wanted to go beyond that. That's what I told you, what beyond like the architecture as a what we can offer to the society. So as I'm saying, so then we gone back to the drawing board with a thought like what is available to us in terms of in terms of the context and in terms of our culture. So our role model is like we always take this thought like a conscious design. The team which get involved, and I also say to the student, whenever you will go for any design, the design, you need to be very conscious, whatever, like that's what we are saying. It's not about the end product. This is the like what you set to do in the initial level, in terms of the other things. As a conscious design, it's the best practice is like the environment, social and culture. Like these are all the things we wanted to cover within this project. I already told like how this can be like inspire the world in terms of our culture and all of these things. And also one of the things, like whenever Sid told, like whenever we do design, we always look for, is there any scope for craft where we can get all this like little things which gives more than beyond architecture, that little craft, So it feels like this place belongs to you. This stone, it very well. So all of this touch, feel, and it's give different what we say tangent to the project. So when we like how can the government building, the first thing that comes to our mind is like how the government building can be different, and like how we can interact, how we can bring public into the space. So the thing is like the first alteration is like we want the lower part to be open and which is inviting. So that is the thing, that the first thought we have, like where we wanted to do this design in such a way where people can sit, come, they can feel, they can touch the building and all of these things. So already we wanted to break that, that boundary wall, that the people will not stand outside of this building. They can come inside. Like when you will go to any public like a museum, and when you visit any public buildings, you always inspire to go inside and see what is that. So the first, like how we can connect this building with the city, that is one of the basic thing. And then like when we design anything, like one of the best things, like we can design like people and nature separately, but in our thought we wanted to like combine both the things together, like how it's not about key again the people is in the center and all the natures are surrounding. So we wanted to come out with some solution where people and nature can go hand to hand basically. So it's always like an experience. So you are within the building, and sometimes you are outside the building, but you don't really relate wherever you are, and it's merging in a nature. So that is how we have come up with this ground portion where the courtyard and the usable space is like it's almost like an inside outside feeling. It's not something you are within a building, sometimes you are out, sometimes you are in, basically within the nature. So that was one of our concepts. So here we intend to do all of this public services like auditorium and their training center and all of these things, which is important for the this farmers to get educated, and basically all the public facility. So I'll just go through the plans. So basically, when we have started this design, the only things like as per the direction, like we want this front part, like we wanted to give some foreground to the building, because that is also important, how you like from where you are looking this building. And like also because of the north direction, so we wanted to have like open this whole part, like the northeast zone, we wanted to have more openness, and we wanted to get this north light and all of this stuff. So if you see, and that allows us to give some kind of like what we can bring in terms of like the tree code, the shaded code, and also this helps us in terms of climate legally also, like the water body which brings cold air to the buildings and all of these things. This admin sorry so when you are coming inside, so the most the traffic zone, or you can say the public activities, we kept outside only, because if there is any is there any meeting and all of these things, so that can get over within this auditorium, so people don't need to travel inside. So maximum people they can get addressed outside only, or with a nice green landscape. And once you are going inside, you have all of this facility, like there this is the exhibition center. Then we also offering the library, if anyone wants to get get educated about the agriculture, and so they are open. So the student for the agriculture, they can also come and they can also see what is read the books, and this is all of the other things, which is basically your training center. And with that, like this is almost like a rectangular box, but we wanted to bring a lot of light and porosity to this structure. That's why we have introduced this central court within that. So, if you see the building is ventilated two way. One is from the outside and one is from the inside. So, and we kept the circulation is very simple. If you just see the upper floors, the circulation one is like inside within the courtyard. Around the courtyard, we have all of this circulation. So you always feel fresh. You get good air, and the building also in terms of sustainability, it acts very well. So this is what is the basement. Below that, this I already explained to you, the auditorium, the cafeteria. So all of this public things which is there in the ground. And on top of that, so the circulation, so I already told you that we kept the circulation is we kept it very simple. And we placed some of the office building, like when it is an inside court. So, the some of the offices is also facing inside. So you are getting light from inside and from the outside also. And wherever you are getting light from the outside, there we have introduced that screen which is giving shade to the glass and all of this thing. So this is how almost the typical flows are similar as their different departments and all of departments. And in the roof, what we have tried, like it's moreover like how it's solar panel, and we intend to do a lot of greeneries because that gives us opportunity to make the roof cool. So it's not it was not possible to make all of this roof like a green because we need to have a circulation area, but wherever we get an opportunity, we made it green. So that is how it looks like. So this trees which is in the front creates kind of a microclimate to the structure. So in terms of the section, this is how. So I'll go in the we can avoid HVAC in this building. And when that thought came in our mind, then we started thinking what is available then. If it is not AC, then what is available? How can we make this building without HVAC but still like comfortable? So that's like that single click or that single thought gives us the clue of the design, how to design and how to go about the whole process. And the material we wanted to use, which is timeless, obviously, which is low maintenance, because we also understand the government building, which need low maintenance. So we particularly chosen all of this material, which needs low maintenance. How we can bring like 100% daylight to the structure. One is like your shading device and the openings. We, as I told, we don't want to go for a glass building, but in the same time, we don't want to compromise with the daylighting. So how to make balance out of it? So you are getting light also, and you are not, your energy in terms of the building is getting less. Like we are more energy efficient building. So then the water, how we can use all of this water, because all of the spoon and the water body you are seeing, it's actually part of our whole water program, because the recycled water that gets that is all like a pond where we are collecting all of this water. Then the solid waste management, and and some of the very basic important things which, like I already explained, the firma, this is the interaction space for the farmers, and we wanted to go with a very basic material, but still we want the building to be iconic. So that's like a second thought which came into our mind, like what next? So how we can make this building iconic, and like the craft, how we can bring craft. And so it's already written, but like all of this basic thought which gives us a direction. And like when we go on with our design, so we thought, what is the comfortable temperature in which we can design? So the building is designed with a 32 degrees centigrade. So how we can achieve this kind of a thing in terms of the comfort, and what needs, how technologically we need to devise or do this building to achieve this figure. So this one thing I just wanted to explain. So when we talk about any glass building and when we talk about any, wall, it's always our conscious decision ki how much glass is needed. Either glass is needed or not. So first thing we asked ourselves, like, what is that window and what is that opening we really need to get in light? So that's the question. So that's why we don't always go with this thought like the building will always be like a glass. And if you just see the heat gain and all of these things we have studied, like the heat gain through glass and through, the wall is very different. Even if we consider very high level of U value glasses and all of this, but still, you are exposed to the structure, you are exposed to the weather, that temperature is gaining inside. So all of these things give us like what window we need to see, what is the opening we need to see, and all of like the parameter of the design. So it's not like why I'm explaining all of these things, because all of these parameters I'm saying that it gives us like we first need to create an environment, like what is our thought before even thinking what design we need to produce, or what are the core values we wanted to go with. So like in terms of the, if we say with a glass, how much wattage and how much electricity we are saving. So, and then the design comes from like what is important. So it's not, that's I was saying, it's not always important what we want to achieve. So it's always the process which is important. Then when we have gone with like, it's okay, we wanted to go with a very minimal glass, but is it enough to get all of these things? What else we can offer? So obviously as a present designs, we can offer something like, a sunshade, which will be more effective then. And if we increase the sunshade, how it will certainly reduce the temperature. If you see the temperature, it is certainly like from the 41% to it is coming down to 24%. So maybe in the initial level, you will not like it, how you are introducing a chhajja to a design. But that's what I'm saying. It's a process of design, which so we are not worried about what is coming out. We always think like how the building will perform in terms of in a long run. Then we have done a lot of studies, how the solar, what is the solar analysis, how the building will act in terms of the mass, where we get to, where we need to give, deep chhajjas and all of these things. And then a lot of analysis we have done. And then finally, like this is all analysis which we have done. And this is the simulation model, like how much light we are getting. Even we have a very small window, and what is the lux level we are achieving. So this is what, like even with the small windows, if you can see, we are achieving the almost like very good daylight throughout the building. So this is how, this is all of the study which we do before even like finalizing our design in terms of, the facade and all of these things. So we first need to have a comfort in terms of, how the building is acting in terms of technology or in terms of the comfort. So that the thing is like when we understood we need to have a like long, chhajjas and all of these things, but still we want the building to look like modern and all of these things. Then we came up with the options like what else we can do with this building, and then like and how we can that concept of going for a low take, so which is already exist in our history. So we wanted to go with that smaller window and how wind can flow, and it can get out through that small courtyard inside. So that is one of the thought, like why we wanted to have a courtyard inside. So this is how we have created the small, louvers in the bottom. So where all this, the cold air go inside and the hot air will go out from the building. So this is how the building is acting. This is a clear-cut, wall sections. And now how this fins basically, before even going for what is the design of the fin, we just studied like how the fin will act, because basically these all are the fins. Behind that it's like a small corridor, so it is giving continuous shade to the structure. So even if your window is open, you are not getting that much clear glare, and in terms of the heat, it is totally like a shading device. And then how it is acting in terms of cutting our solar radiation. That was what I was explaining, like how it is cutting our solar. So even in terms of, if you see, so these are the things like small louvers which we have introduced. And even if you see in terms of the from inside, it looks like a very similar simple building, and which is very easy to maintenance. You are getting proper light. And all of this small windows which is not visible from the outside, because so from inside the interior all it's a very simple building, and with that fin and all, like how we can make a difference to the temperature. So if you see the outside temperature, it's suddenly reducing by like 3 to 4 degrees. So even in terms of like how we are using our landscape, this is how the on the external side we have a biosoil, and how we are collecting all of our rainwater, and we are channelizing all of this water, and then we are actually collecting that into a pond, and that is one of the feature of our design also. So when we have gone with like what expression we need to look at, so rather than like creating a new context, we visited what is available to us, what is we always talk about the context. So other than bringing some new stories to the place, we have gone back to our cities and we have looked at what soil is available, what color is available, what is. So this is what we found, the Orissa, which have very different colors, like the soil color, each and every part of the Orissa is very different. So the thought is like, why can't we bring all of these things together to make a statement? So it's not borrowing something from outside, it's the local context which we wanted to highlight in a different manner. And we always wanted to, we are very proud of Ikat, like it is one of the signature of Orissa. So we thought, let's combine both the things together, like the natural things and the culture and the art. So that is how we come up with the option, like why can't we make four colors of brick, which gives us a Ikat pattern, and from that we make a statement for ourselves. So it's not about borrowing anything from outside, it's looking at inside and what we can do, what is available with us. So that is how it looks, and like in initial level, we thought how to construct it and all of these things. So we had something. So we have never thought, like that's what we told you. That was not a thought how to do it. Like it is always important for us to think like what to do it. So then the how comes as a research. So we sometimes for maximum of our structure, we don't even know how to construct. So it's a process. We do a lot of prototyping. We do a lot of alteration. We do a lot of research. And that is how we get like we work with a lot of craftsmen and a lot of this mystery and laborers and the actual guy who are going to do this design, because their understanding is much more better than us. So then we evolve with the design how to do. So that is how, like till the time we do not even know how to construct these things, then we come up with the option. We have done a lot of prototyping, and then we find out this is possible, absolutely possible. So in the left, you can see how the corridor or that fin which I told you, like how we have taken that chhajja into a different way. Like that, it's a clearly. I would say it's a shift in thought, like how the chhajja and the external part can be something which is shady, but still complete all of this, requirement of. So if you see from the behind, we have that, the small glazing and all of this thing, which is not very visible, but in the same time, it is doing whatever job, like whatever we wanted to get out of it. So this is how the building looks like from below. We always wanted to have a porous, which is inviting, and so I think a lot of you know what is this building and also visited. So, and this is how like his Shivanand, who is to whom we have interacted, and we explain it to the project, and then we come up with the option where how we can bring the craft into the picture. So it's not about working in isolation. It's always to work with this craftsman, because they know how to go about the thing. So then we come up with options like where we can bring craft to here. So we worked with this stone, local stone, and so that's what we are saying. It's beyond architecture. So we can't restrict our thought. Like we need to go beyond, and then we can see what we can offer because. If as an architect we don't offer, if we stake we don't want to go for any craft, so these things will not come into the picture. So this is our responsibility. We feel this is our responsibility to bring all of these things into the picture. So this is a lot of crafts, and so the building itself, it has its own language. So it's a one single tone, because we wanted to make this very simple single tone building. We don't want to bring to so many stones into the picture. And like we talked with that craftsman, where like till the time they always used to believe all of these crafts can only be possible within the art temple. Like when we have given opportunity to them, the first time they are surprised, like how you can bring all of these things into the building. So that's like for us also, it's a new learning. For them also, it's a new learning, and they are so happy. We are giving them some places, because all of this bottoms and all of this first, spaces we need to create for them to allow the craft to happen. So this is what like we have started exploring, like in terms of the railings and all. Then it's a different thought after when we have designed the complete things, where we can bring craft to the project is a different exercise altogether. And then how we this is how we explored yes. So the lot of crafts. Like we have done a lot of prototyping. This is a prototyping which is going on. Even we don't sure initially how it will happen, but like with a lot of processes and when we work with them, it get happened. And it's like we as Studio Lotus feel very happy when we look at this building. It's so celebrating. Like there's all of this curving which is very close to your heart, and so whenever you are like, yes, the culture is emerged, like it is part of each and every space. This is the front courtyard. Even if you see the slab which we have designed in such a way where we can get like we always looked at like how we can offer more crafts into the space, like each and everything, like the staircase from the soffit or the walls and each and everything. And this is how it looks in terms of the internal courtyard. It's again it is lot of massing alterations. So from that first day only, our thought is to buildings to look like a timeless. So it's not, we are not making this building for like some years. We want the building to be like aged for a long time, and that's how it is. And I feel we have achieved that. This is how the lower portion is working. How much time do we have? Yeah. So even wherever, like I just wanted to explain, wherever there is no, that kind of a screen and all, so we make all of these things like a deeper. The chhajjas are deep enough, so to cut down the sun.
Questions?
So I should not explain.
That's it, no?
So this is all about the design. I think you all got what and how we have designed it. Like this is very special because all of you are student. So I just wanted to say ki, it is very important for us how like this when you are when you are studying there as an like the journey of an architecture student is very different. So we all come from a very normal with a normal very thought, and that like it's a completely shift of your mindset and your thought. So it's a journey of like how you should think about the architecture different way, rather than it's not a job of making the plan section and elevations. How you can think beyond that. I just wanted to say ki how as a student you should always think how how you can see the world very differently, how you can offer this society differently. So whatever like project you are doing and all of these things, so how you as a person bring some things to the table. So that is very important. And one thing just I wanted to say, like whenever you see, any, sometimes all of you are very familiar, like might possible you have seen one flower outside of your maybe balcony, maybe in your garden. But if you see if you see any good flower, so whatever things need to be like that flower, when it comes out and when you feel happy, all of things which is required to like get into that space of making that flower, don't look like a flower. Basically the air, the sun, the soil, the fertilizer, the wind, the protection, the care. So so that's what I was explaining. So when we want to have a good product and want to have something which is very important, it's not important for us. So that flower is not important. So how the other things, like how we are working with the other things, like how care you do about that thing is more important, which is more about the process. So the product is automatically, so if you the sun is proper, the soil is proper, if you are the plant is getting well air, and you are caring each and every day about the product, the flower will come automatically. So whatever things is required to get that flower, it doesn't look like a flower. So that's very important to understand. So that is why it's the shift of mind, because in the college, that what happens, even I'm talking about me, I used to start what I need to see as a project. So I used to start with like I'll make an iconic building. So rather than going inside of the building, like how the building will function, so it's very important to get that product. What all things we need to think, the environment. So first, so that's what I am telling you. In our studio, we create that environment to evolve that design. So that's what I'm giving that example of flower. So here in architecture, the sustainability and all of this aspect which I explained you. So it gives us a direction, clearly going like giving any statement in the initial level. We should enjoy the process of designing, and then the product, let it come as it is. So that's all just I wanted to explain. Yeah.
Very rightly said. Thank you, Architect Sidhartha and Architect Subrata, for this wonderful deliberation. Now we would like to take up a few questions from our students.
Sure.
Rakesh Mahapatra, would you like to ask?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
And before asking a question, I would thank you for providing or gifting Odisha with such a timeless structure, which we really feel connected to. And thanks to Lotus Studio for that. Sir, one question which I really ponder upon is that the materials which are actually vernacular and which has been used in the structure. Sir, all those materials might not be found in abundance in future. So, sir, if this building could have come up around 20 to 25 years from what it has been constructed, so, sir, what materials which you would have chosen, or which materials which you could have thought of in that time span? What materials could have been used?
So, see, that's what I'm coming to. Like, it's not always important to thought what will be available at that time. So when we design anything, we first thought what is available right now. Like, that's what the question is. Like, you should not think what will be available. So you cannot predict anything what will be available. Either that time the glass will be available, that the soil will be available. So our way of practice is we always gone back to the local context. So it's like what has happened to the history and what is available in terms of the present condition. So whenever you will go design anything in future, you have to go. But in our way, we'll always go for what is available at that time, and we would like to design with that only. So it might that the material may differ, the look and feel, and all of this may differ at that time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Next we have Ritika. Okay, can we have Varsha next?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, good afternoon, everyone. Sir, like you mentioned in various places about the different kinds of sustainable practices you use to like kind of maintain the thermal comfort level inside the building. Like I would like to know a little bit more about that. So, could you elaborate a little bit and about all of the planning considerations you chose up specifically for the topic of climate and all?
Are you talking about specifically for this building or in general our practice?
No, sir, specifically for this building.
I'm not getting your questions. Basically, you wanted to ask how this building is more sustainable. Can you just say it again?
Sir, I'm like you explained about the sustainable strategies you used for climate control inside the building for the thermal comfort level and all.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know more about all of the planning considerations you chose for specifically for the climate control aspect.
So if you see the planning part of it, like the building is, we have given more open space towards the front, which is your northeast side. Okay. And we have purposefully closed the rear side of the building, which is your south side. Okay. So the planning of the building is such a way that we can block maximum sun from the south, and we are allowing more sun towards the north and the east side. So, and in the same time, we are then creating that fins, because north light don't have heat, but it comes with a lot of glare. So then the question is like how to cut down that glare. So that's why we have given like that ikat pattern to cut down the glare. So you are getting light in a way, and the window size is clearly very defined. It's small, not to gain much more heat, and in the same time we are cutting a lot of sun. So the whole planning consideration is based on that, and whatever the internal courtyard we have prepared. Basically, the internal courtyard, if you see its size and all, it is defined such a way it is always shaded in a way. So it's always important for us, even if you are giving any courtyard and all, what size, what ratio you are going into, so that throughout the time you get light but not the heat. So those are the aspects which we have considered within the design. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sir, also, like, we know that Bhubaneswar faces a lot of humidity and all. So, like, was that a very difficult challenge in this particular project?
See, it is always being a challenge. Like that's what I'm saying. We need to thought very differently. So client will always say, ask you, let's make a HVAC building. So I'm telling you, we are doing a lot of practice. Even we are doing one hotel. I am doing one hotel in Ahmedabad, where we are saying client, whether it's a kind of debate, we don't want to HVAC the whole corridor. We are saying there is no need. Okay, why you are wasting so much of energy? So I am giving you the solution. So initially it has to come from you. Other accepting the things like will make this building as a HVAC. Other how we can take that challenge and make it possible. So it's a shift. Like it's not always. Obviously, client will always debate with you, like, let's make this building simple, because doing HVAC is a very simplest way to do. Like you just need to put a central plant system, all of this duct and all of these things. But to make the building without HVAC is much more a critical challenge. So as an architect, we should always say what we can push for it. So if we start taking all these challenges, then suddenly we feel the world and the thinking of the architecture will change definitely.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Thank you so much, sir.
Now Sampriti would like to ask something.
Good afternoon, sir. Firstly, thank you for such an enriching presentation. So I wanted to know, you have talked and explained very beautifully about how to include the craft and culture in the building, and also about the sustainability factors that you have included in the building design. So
Yeah.
could you kindly throw some light on the landscape design of the Krushi Bhavan, like how you have included the courtyard landscaping inside, and also the entire landscape of the building, sir?
Yes. So can you see our screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as a concept, whenever we do any of this project, across wherever, first our thought is what is the native plant which is available. So that is we don't want to bring Dubai into the India. Like people start with lot of this tall palm trees and all of these things. First we wanted to explore how we can maintain this facility very easily, and what are the native places which will grow very easily rather than start putting so much of fertilizer and making it difficult. So the initial thought was to make the design is very simple in such a way which allows we don't want to go for too much of hard paving and all, because already whatever the footprint is there, it's creating a fair enough hard print to the site. So wherever we got a space, we always wanted to go for a soft. So that's what maximum places we have shown the softscape, and wherever we are creating this hardscape, the strategy is to create a tree coat. So even a lot of our project, you will find we create a tree coat. Basically, it's a series of trees in a grid manner, which gives you shade, and in the same time, it will give you, it will make your hard pave very soft. So, so these are the basic concept which we have taken into the consideration. And other than some of the times, when we have this collecting tank for for harvesting, other than putting it inside, how we can explore it like a design feature. So that is one of the thought. None of the services we wanted to hide, basically. Like all of this pond is basically it's acting as your tank, your storage tank. So that's what I think there is a few. Yeah. So so if you see, so whatever is required, like same way, like doing landscape is not always only thing we have to start making things like we have to do so many hard paving and all. Like doing less, how can do more is always even in the same concept we have followed in like for the landscape also. So here also we wanted to just do pavement of that much area which is required. We have introduced a lot of trees and this coat wherever to give more shading and all of these things. So I think that's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Even wherever we have a space like the terrace and all, we have given this plants so that it's not about only thinking we have a plant in the ground floor. Like we have also taken that thing, it's like a step profile. Like when you are looking at the building also, you should see always all these greens at that in your eye level also. That gives you so much of relief. So it's not a isolation. We have not worked in a very isolation. It's a like in the first slide only, I have told you about that thing. When the strategy of the just a minute. The concept of landscape is simply this. So where this is we wanted to experience a landscape rather than like a one side thing. Yeah. Thank you.
take a few more questions?
We are just running out of time. Can we? Initially, I thought maybe I'll show some few more projects which was there, but I think there is no time.
Thank you.
And Piloo Mody is, I just wanted to say Piloo Mody is also like a very special college for me because my own brother, he passed out from this college. He has done architecture, and so I feel that's what I feel very proud. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, now that we have come to the end of the session, on behalf of Piloo Mody College of Architecture and its entire team and crew, I would like to acknowledge our gratitude to our speakers, Architect Sidhartha and Architect Subrata, for taking out time from their busy schedule and gracing this occasion with their enlightening lectures. The lectures gave us deep insight into various topics and revealed some interesting design ideas. I'm sure everyone here would have benefited from this informative lecture. This precious knowledge will definitely help our students in their studies and in their future. Finally, my sincere thanks to all members of the management who worked hard to make this event a success. Thank you.
Thank you.